Okay, in this section, we begin to use all of our factoring methods in order to solve equations, so solve quadratic equations. I want to first start with this idea, though, of what we call the zero property. All right, and the zero property is pretty straightforward. And what it means is that when you multiply two numbers together, one of them has to be zero if your answer is going to be zero. So like 3 times 0 equals 0, or 0 times 0 equals 0, or 5 times 0 equals 0. It doesn't matter. But we can't do this. So for example, like we can't do this and have, 5 times 2 or any combination thereof to get you 0. One of them has to be a 0. So if you take a look at a problem like this, what this tells you is that either the x is 0 or the x plus 2 is 0. So either we have x is 0 or x equals -2. That same process does not work to give us 3, because we could do 1 times 3 to give us 3, but there are other numbers that will work to give us 3. So it doesn't necessarily mean that one of these will give us a 3. So we can't really solve these two problems the way that they are, but we can solve them if they're equal to 0. So again, we can just say, well, either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0, and we can then solve x equals -2 and x equals 1/2. We can solve either one of those as long as they are equal to 0. So we go and use our factoring methods. If this is equal to 0, what we can do is use our factoring methods to factor x squared minus 3. That's going to give us a -2x minus 1x, x minus 2, x minus 1. So we end up with x minus 1 and x minus 2 equals 0. Why that's helpful is because we're set equal to 0, we either know that x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x minus 2 equals 0. So we have two answers to this quadratic equation, x equals 1 and x equals 2. Could do the same thing for this over here. Use our factoring method, n squared, 24, what multiplies to give us 24 and adds to give us -10, -6x and -4x. So we get n minus 6, n minus 4. So again, this right here is just simply a review of our factoring methods. And now we can go solve. N equals 6 and n equals 4. And we have our two solutions. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.